are you doing? This is Rhonda L. Thompson. Welcome to my brand new debut show. I'm so excited. This is an extension of Rhonda's Room, the radio show, and this is Onsite with Rhonda. Now, what we're going to do here is going to be a one-on-one where I do coaching, counseling, guidance, and we talk about specific topics. I may bring somebody on and work through their issues with them on camera as well. So I want you guys to share this, to like this, and let's get this whole vibe going. Okay, what I want to talk about tonight first of all, I want to say thank you. I'm so grateful to be on E360 platform. So thank you to Aaron and everybody that's made this possible. I'm very excited to be here. Cannot wait to see how this grows. And I'm honored to be here. Now, tonight, what I would like to do is I wanted to start off, since it is the beginning of the year, okay? I want to start off with something positive. And I'll just tell you a little bit about me to get started, okay? My name is Rhonda L. Thompson, and I am a counselor, coach, speaker, author. And what I do is I have a business called Total Breakthrough Center, where I take clients that are either court ordered to take court ordered classes, or I can get them individually and then they come in on the empowerment side. Now, one of the things that I'm known for is the way that I teach. I have a certain style and a technique that I'm going to be using in this TV show platform. And this is going to evolve. This is the very first debut. So, it's coming together, guys. We'll have the opener next week, and we'll have a whole setup for the studio and everything. So this is the beginning stages. So I'm inviting you to grow with me, to like and to share this, and interact with me on Facebook or whatever platform it is that you are actually watching me on, because the fantastic thing is that now I can broadcast on Facebook, E360, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Apple TV, iOS platform, a whole bunch of stuff. So this is a great way to get across many, many platforms and to share a little bit about what I do. And what I would like to do is, let me just put up here very first, if you want to be on the show, okay? If you want to come on, because one of the things I'm going to do with this show is I'm actually going to invite people to come on and let me help them work through something. So if you want to be on the show, the email is below. Just send me an email to Rhonda's Room at E360 TV if you want to be a guest, and if you want to come on the show and work through some issues, live while everybody is here. I'm known for my specialty in breaking down trauma. So even in a short time, even though this is a 1-hour show, I promise you guys, I can help you pinpoint where it stopped, or if you have a specific question, or if you got a certain thing that you want to work through, just let me know. And we'll work through it together, and we can schedule it for a time that suits you, and you can come on the show and interact, and we'll work through it together. Now, what I would like, so that's one way that you can be on the show if you want to, come on and just share your story. Now, this right here is my very first episode. So this is episode 1. I'm so excited. Episode 1. Now, the best way to start a brand new year off is with yourself. So what I want to do is I want to talk about your worth and your value, okay, and how they play together and how they came to be. So that's what tonight is going to be about. So what I would like for you to do is, this is an interactive broadcast, guys. You can send me comments on Facebook. Like, I got my phone over here so I can answer comments as well. If you've got questions, you can go ahead and ask them. Post them in the chat in Facebook, and then I will answer them for you live while we're here. So that's one way that you can interact with me live. The next thing I would like for you to do is grab a notebook and grab a pen, because I promise you, you're going to get something that's going to be a nugget that you didn't have before. So I'm very excited about this. And I am going to, I'm going to shout out a couple people that are watching right now. Hey, Ty Norris, that is my covering, my other half of my radio duo. Ty Norris, also fellow radio talk show host of Power 108.9. I'm so glad that you're watching. Thank you so much. April, my girl, you are always with me. Everything I do, you show up, and I am so grateful to you. And Brittany, I saw that you were on this and you shared this as well. So thank you, guys. And let's keep doing that. Let's like and let's share this, because this show is going to grow with you, and it's going to be about you, because the premise of this whole show, the one-on-one, is we're going to talk about things that matter and how to navigate your way through them. So that's always going to be the precedent of the show. So what I would like to do is, with my classes, I always start off with something positive. Okay, I always start off with a positive motivational video, like 3 to 4 minutes long, and it just gets the vibe going, because number one, I don't know what you're dealing with right now. I don't know what it took for you to go ahead and hit, to watch this and to show up for this. So what I like to do is, I don't know what it took for you to get here, and I don't know where you are or what you're going home to. So I want to start off with something positive, like I do in my classes. And I always start off with a positive video, because it may be the only positive thing or positive motivation that a lot of people get, in their day. So the very first thing that I want to do is I'm going to play a video. Now, I'm going to tell you guys, this video is like 3 minutes long. It is the favorite video of all my clients and students. And I'm just going to leave it at that. Now, I want you to watch this video, and then afterwards, I want you to tell me what it spoke to you. Okay, so we're going to start off. You are on site with Rhonda. This is one-on-one. Here is your positive motivation for the week. This is Sunday. Let's get your week started to set the intention. And here is a very special message just for you. Okay, so I want you to pay attention to what is being said. Let me go ahead and share my screen, and I'm going to pull it up for you right now. And here we go.
Let me speak to that person that feels like they lost their worth and their value. This is a dollar bill. Now, if I go to the store and there's something for 90 cents, can I buy it with this dollar bill? Okay, all right. So if I go to the store and there's something for 85 cents and after tax, it ends up being 96 cents, can I buy it with this dollar bill? Okay, all right. So what if I ball the dollar bill up? Think about it now. Like, I just balled the dollar bill up. Like, so it can't be worth $1 now. It's probably worth like 95 cents, right? How much you think it's worth? $1. Listen, y'all gotta pay attention. I just balled it up. So clearly it's not worth $1 anymore. All right. So maybe, what if I step on it? What if I stomp it? I just stomped it. How much is it worth now? Maybe 65 cents, 68 cents? It's still worth $1? Okay, what if I ball it up? What if I stomp on it and then I put it in the trash can, and it's in here with some trash, and it's around some beer and some gum and a bunch of other nasty stuff, and some guy off the street pulls the dollar out, unfolds it. How much is it worth now? Maybe 82 cents? And come on, at least 92 cents? It's okay, all right, so what if I ball it up? What if I step on it? What if I put it in trash, and then, watch this, I tear it in half? Think about it now, right? How much is it worth now? $1? I could tape it? Whoa. Wait. Wait a second. I just balled it up. I just stepped on it. I put it in trash. I pulled it out. Then I tore it in half. And you mean to tell me I could pick the dollar up, I could wipe it off, and I could put some tape around it, and it's still worth $1? then why, if this dollar doesn't lose its worth or its value, then why do you feel like you've lost your worth and value? Because many of you feel like you've been stepped on, you feel like you've been pushed aside, you feel like you've been abandoned, you feel like you've been talked about, you feel like you've been abused, like someone took from you, someone hurt you, somebody took advantage of you, and deep down inside your core, you feel like you've lost some of your value. And I am here to tell you today that this dollar still has worth and value, because there were some men years ago who put value over this life and said no matter what happens to it, it can still be taped back together. It can still be wiped off. And I am here to tell you that you were created and you're born and you're here and you have life and you have purpose and you have value. And though you've gone through some hard times and though you've experienced some depression and you might be wanting to hurt yourself and you might want to give up, I am here to tell you still got worth and value. And there is nothing that can happen that can take your worth and your value away. So what you got to do now is you got to pick yourself up. You got to dust yourself off and you got to keep moving.
Wow. That video, I tell you what, that video gets me every single time. And it's the favorite video that I have that I show my students because it touches something. And I remember the first time I saw that video, I cried. I don't know about you, but I cried because something I've always battled in my life was my own worth and value. And that's a fight that it's not something that happens overnight. And it's not something that gets repaired overnight. And everybody that comes in to see me, you know, I'll ask them, how do they see themselves? And you would be surprised how many people have a low sense of self-worth and value. So that's why it's important to talk about this and to start this year off talking about your worth and your value. And we're going to talk tonight about how did that get created? You know, what shaped your view of your own worth and value, and how can we reshape it and reframe it? That's what we're going to talk about. So I'm going to look over here at the comments. Okay. All right. I see a lot more people watching here. My cousin Veronica is watching. Dontella is watching. Brittany. Yes. Brittany says, I'm worth so much, even through any storm I come through. Yes, Brittany, you are. And Brittany, your story is incredible, you know, and it needs to be told. When I saw that video for the first time, it touched something in me, because if you feel a certain way about yourself, you actually give off that vibe, okay? And you actually attract people that prove just what you think about yourself. It's really weird, okay? It's like a psychological phenomenon. You would think you would attract everything that you want, but here's the thing. Your worth and your value is based off of what is called your core belief system. And your worth and your value comes from the beginning that it was shaped through was other people. And if you believe certain things about yourself, then that frames the way you see the world and how you show up in the world and how you respond to people and how you interpret things. All of it comes back to how you see yourself. So it's very important to have a healthy image of self-worth and to know your value. And see, so many of us don't know our worth and our value. And you wonder why you get into relationship after relationship after relationship and people treat you badly. But the thing is, we teach people how to treat us. We really do. You teach people how to treat you based on what you allow and what you don't allow. And that's something that I've struggled with my whole life. I'm just going to be transparent. I've struggled with that my whole life. And so what I want to do is I want to break down how our self-worth and our value is created, okay? And some of it may make sense to you. And if you have comments, go ahead and post them in the comments. You know, I got Facebook going here, so I can see your comments. And if you have a question, I'll bring it on and I will answer your question here on the show. So where does your self-worth and your value originate? That's the question. Where does it originate? Well, it originates in the beginning, okay, by your caregivers, or I would say parents, but not everybody is brought up by their natural biological parents. Whoever cared for you in the beginning has the very first part in your life in shaping your worth and your value. So, for example, before I get too deep into this, okay, and I see lots more people watching. Hey, Carlotta, how you doing? Amanda, Tamika, so glad that you joined. You man, share this broadcast. Share this broadcast with everybody. Okay, so how is your self-worth and your value created? Well, I hope you got your pen and your paper, okay? Because I'm going to give you some tools. And one of the things that I want to do with this show that's going to be different is this show, I'm going to give you tools every single time we talk that you can take away and you can put into practice into your own life, because this show is not a rah-rah show. It's not about outrageous guests. This show is about you, talking about things that matter and how to navigate through them. So it's going to be your way. And it's perfect that it's Sunday to start your week off. Sunday is, you know, rest, relaxation. Sunday is worship day. Sunday is healing. Sunday is, it's the first day of the week. So it's perfect that it's Sunday, that this show is Sunday, because it's all about you. All right, so how does your worth and your value get shaped? Well, your caregivers, your first people that cared for you, have the beginning of how your worth and your value is shaped. So, for example, if you had good parents that like nurtured you, cared for you, you had a roof over your head, they were positive, they had a healthy environment and all that good stuff, you have what is called a secure attachment understanding, because your caregivers care for you and you create what is called an attachment bond to whoever it is that cares for you. So if you come up and all your needs are met, your nutritional needs are met, your psychological needs are met, your physical needs are met, you know, your spiritual needs are met, and you've got a good, healthy surrounding, you have what is called a secure attachment understanding. So you have a secure base. So that person is going to grow up and they're going to be confident. They're going to be secure. They're going to know that whatever they want, they're going to be able to get, and they're going to have good practices that they put into motion, and they're going to not be afraid to try anything. They're really not going to deal with a whole lot of anxiety. They're going to be confident. They're going to be secure. They're going to be the ones that the go-getters that go get it. And, you know, you're like, gosh, are you not worried about it? And like, no, I know I got it. So those are people who have a secure base. So that's one type of attachment. Another type is, now, if your caregivers were not there all the time, but they were only there part of the time, or they wavered back and forth, okay? Or, you know, your upbringing was chaotic. If you had parents that were alcoholics, that were drug addicts, that were neglectful, that left you alone, all of those types of things, then you grew up now with what is called an ambivalent attachment. So ambivalent means you're not sure if you can trust it. You're not sure if you're good. You're kind of all over the place. And these people will deal with a lot of anxiety, a lot of worry when they grow up. Okay. Now, if you grew up in this type of environment where everything was all over the place and there was no structure, no nothing, and you could never count on anything, well, you're walking on eggshells all the time because that's how you grew up. You have what is called a disorganized attachment style. Okay. And that's kind of hard to deal with, because you never know when you can feel secure or when the rug is going to get ripped out from under you. Okay. So you've got secure, you've got ambivalent, you've got disorganized, and then you also have a combination of ambivalent and disorganized where it's just kind of all over the place, and you don't know if you're coming or you're going. You don't know if you can trust people because your immediate caregivers are the first people that you trust. And so if they're not there for you, then you learn that you are in this world all by yourself. All right, so I see more people watching. I'm going to try to pay attention here. Thank you, Tamika. All right, Benny, you're watching too. Thank you for watching. So that's the beginning of how your value is shaped and your self-worth, okay? Now, I hope you got your pens and pencils out because here's something. There's 3 things, okay, that happen in everybody's life. Now, they may happen, I'm going to tell you the way that they supposed to happen, but they could happen at any time. But these 3 things that happen shape your personality and your value of who you are and how you show up in the world. Okay, so the 3 things. All right, I'm gonna have you write them down. First of all, I'm gonna type it up here. First thing that happens is something is wrong. Now, what does that mean? Like when you are an infant, when you are a baby, okay, the very first thing you learn to do is communicate without words, right? So how does a baby communicate? They only know something's wrong or everything is right. There really is no in between with a baby, right? So the first lesson that you learn, and this is in infancy, it really is something's wrong. Now, let me give you an example of that, okay? How many of you have ever noticed, or you have children, okay? A baby is crying, right? And there's nothing really wrong, but they're just crying. Well, if a parent who's frustrated picks that baby up, then guess what? That baby starts to cry louder and more violently, and it's like they panic and they start kicking and wailing and all that. You want to know why? Because they know something is wrong. They know that the person who picked them up is frustrated and they can feel that energy, and so they cry even louder. And if there's another person in the room who's calm and they're like, man, give me the baby, and they start patting it and rocking it, all of a sudden the baby's quiet. Why? Because the person who's calm, who's peaceful, when the baby goes in their arms, it feels right and it feels comforting and soothing. And so they know now that it's okay. Now, yeah, same person. Now, the frustrated parent, 9 times out of 10 is going to get all pissed off and frustrated even more, be like, man, give me that baby back. Okay. And as soon as they take that baby and they're frustrated, baby starts crying again. You want to know why? Because they know something is wrong. Because they know that they can feel the energy of the person holding them that they really don't want to, and that they're frustrated. And going a little bit further, babies cry to indicate something's wrong. They're hungry, they're wet, they've got gas. All they know how to do is cry out because they can't speak yet. They're not capable of speaking. So all they know is something's wrong and they cry out in any way, shape, or form. And if they cry and you don't answer them, then they start kicking and wailing and they louder and louder. Now, keep that in mind for future reference for where I'm going to go. So the first thing is something is wrong. And that usually happens, in infancy, because it's inbred in us. All right, now, so the next thing is, here, I'm going to put it up here. This usually happens at about middle school, or it could be elementary school. I don't fit in. I don't fit in. This is a big one that shapes your personality because we do so many things to be accepted by other people. And if you find yourself, or if you can remember a time in your life when you didn't fit in, and I'm going to tell you one with me. Okay. I remember going to school and I wanted to be a cheerleader so bad because I wanted to be part of that popular group. You know, the girls with the long blonde hair, the blue eyes, and I wanted to be a cheerleader because that was the in crowd, you know? And they, you know, just were so popular and everybody wanted to date them and all this other stuff. So I wanted to be a cheerleader. Well, I tried out for cheerleading. Now, those of you that know me, okay, I'm not a teeny tiny woman. I'm not real big, but I'm what's called thick. I've always been thick my whole life. I've got the dark hair, I've got darker skin, and I wasn't part of the clique for the cheerleader. So I tried out and I didn't make it. I felt so bad because I wanted to fit in so badly. I thought that if I could be a cheerleader, then everybody would love me. I would be popular. I would, you know, get the good grades. I would get all this, but I really just wanted to be accepted by that group. Well, that group never accepted me. And they turned me down flat. And then they got real mean. You know, there's such a thing as mean girls in high school, in middle school. I tell you what, there's nothing meaner on the face of the earth than girls in school. And so I learned immediately that I didn't fit into that group. I wasn't a cheerleader. So that affected me so much to the point of when my own daughter, Brielle, she is an amazing cheerleader. She always was. It affected me so much that when Brielle would have her cheerleading things, I used to always say, well, I can't stand cheerleaders. I can't stand cheerleaders. And you know what? I didn't go to her practices. I didn't go to her games. But I was at my son's football thing. I never missed a game. That made her feel pretty insignificant. And I couldn't understand why I had no desire to go to see her cheer. Well, you would think I would be her number one fan because of what I went through. I didn't realize how deeply that affected me to the point where when my own daughter, who was an incredible cheerleader, was cheering, I wasn't there for her because I hadn't gotten over something that happened to me because I didn't fit in when I was her age. I didn't make the cheerleading team. So I didn't want anything to do with it. And I ended up hurting my daughter in the process. So that's the second thing that helps to shape your personality. Oh, I see lots of comments here. Hey, Ron. Hey, Dennis. Coco, you need to stop, Tamika. Coco's going to be another show. Natasha, awesome. All right, now the third thing that happens that shapes your personality is, and this is a big one. This will never happen to me again. There's a point, there's something in your life that you have said, this will never happen to me again, or this will never happen to me. So those three things shape your personality and your value. The first one is something's wrong. The second one is I don't fit in. The third one is this will never happen to me again. So something happens to you and you decide at that moment, this will never happen to me again. And it changes the trajectory of your entire life and your personality because now you're going to protect yourself. Okay? Because you vowed this is never going to happen to me again. Or you witness something and you're like, that will never be me. That will never happen to me. So let's take it in the case of abusive relationships. If you grew up in your household and you saw your parents fighting and it was abusive, Okay. You could seemingly start to say, that'll never happen to me. And you'll be real hard on people. And if they even raise their voice, you're cutting them off because you're like, that will not be me. This is never going to happen to me. Okay. Or something could happen to you that you decide this will never happen to me again. And I'll give you an example of that. I'm going to be very vulnerable. All these shows, I'm going to be very vulnerable because I'm going to speak about myself to help you see yourself. Okay. There was a time in my life. Okay. This is really going to be transparent. There was a time in my life in middle school, growing up. Okay. My mom, it was me, my mom, and my sister growing up. And my mom did the best she could. We never really had a lot of money. We didn't. And sometimes, clothes would be washed. Sometimes they wouldn't be. But when you got to be a certain age, we had to do our own clothes, obviously. Well, there was a time I remember that I didn't have clean underwear. Okay. And I had put on a pair of underwear that I had worn the day before because I didn't have time to rinse it out. I didn't have time. I was trying to get ready to go to school and I was running late. And so I put on a pair that I wore the day before. Well, that day when I went to school, there was a girl who was my bully all through middle school, elementary or middle school, I want to say middle school. Her name was Chris. Well, I don't want to say her name. I'm not going to say her name. This girl tormented me. She was my bully my whole high school, middle school years. And I remember, I was already self-conscious because I had underwear on that was dirty. And she would always find a way to humiliate me because she was a bully. Well, we had gotten, and we were going in the lockers or something like that. And we were walking down the hallway and here she come. And I was like, oh God, please, 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 just please let her pass me. Please, 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 please. Well, she stopped and she made this comment. She said, what is that stench I smell? Is that the crust on your underwear, Rhonda? And I tell you what, I was mortified. I was mortified. I was humiliated. And there was a lot of people around me. Okay. And of course I fought because I fought a lot in school and I beat her up or something like that. Or I went after her or I was humiliated and I just disappeared. I can't remember what I did, but that hurt me so much to my core. And I'll tell you what, I decided right then and there, this will never happen to me again. So then how that showed up in my life was I'm extremely meticulous about my personal hygiene. I mean, I am obsessive, meticulous about my personal hygiene because that affected me so much. And I was embarrassed and I was humiliated so much. And I decided that will never happen to me again. So those three things shape your personality. Something's wrong. I don't fit in. This will never happen to me again. And add that to how you were brought up. Your self-worth and your value starts to get shaped. Okay. And it starts to affect how you see yourself and how you feel about yourself and how you show up in the world. So getting back to the way parents raised you, if you had an upbringing where there was whatever chaos there was, however you grew up, that's your normal, guys. That's your normal. And you recreate your normal when you get older. So if you see your parents not treating each other properly, not loving each other, showing, attention and affection, you will repeat that process or you're going to do the exact opposite. Okay. And let me give you an example. So what I mean by that is, all right, so let's say you grow up in an environment where there's a lot of fighting, there's chaos, there's alcoholism, whatever it is, and it's just a lot of chaos. Well, guess what? You get really used to chaos in your life. So you tend to get drawn to chaotic situations, but you'll be real fast to say, I can't stand drama. But you can't understand why you can't break away from the drama. And the reason that you can't is because it's familiar. This is your normal. This is what you're used to. You are used to chaos. You are used to drama. So if something is not full of drama, you're like, wait, this just doesn't feel right, and you tend to feel more comfortable in a drama situation. So you'll tend to navigate towards those types of situations. You really will. And it's no surprise that you'll find yourself in a chaotic situation time after time after time after time. Now, I'm going to show you, let me cue up something here. I'm going to show you another real quick video. And okay, I am not what? Okay. Hold on one second. All right. This next one is going to blow your mind, guys. Okay. So let me get this up here. Let me go ahead and share. And I'm going to have to bypass these ads. So, but I want you to, now this next video is real short. This is a guy. This is one of my favorite motivators. His name is Jay Shetty. Now this guy right here is a monk. And he doesn't look like a monk. He doesn't sound like a monk. But when he speaks, it's powerful. And I want you to catch what he says, okay? All right, so let's get this up. All right. Get your notebook out. All right, let me get this.
Sick of the negative ads.
I can't bypass these ads for this one. So, okay, here we go. Here we go.
Whatever it was.
Okay.
But I saw.
Oops. There we go. Oh, come on.
I remember one of my parents had a maths tutor for me because they wanted me amazing at maths. And I was pretty good at numbers. And I'd have this tutor and he'd tell me that. He goes, the reason that you're struggling with the next question is because you're always worried about what your parents think. And that really stayed in my head. I was just like, wow, so as long as I'm trapped by what my parents think, I can actually never find the answers to the real questions of life. I've always had friends who are older than me. And I could see a lot of them in the most successful careers, successful jobs, beautiful partners, whatever it was. But I saw a sense of lack of fulfillment, meaning, and purpose in their lives. And I've always been an observer, and I would see these people who are like 5 years older than me, 7 years older than me, maybe 10 years older than me. And I'd be watching them and go, is that the life I want? And often the advice I give to people today is fast forward where you are, look at yourself in 10, 15, 20 years time, and ask yourself the question, is that where I want to be? If you're in a company, look at the person who's 20 years ahead of you and ask yourself, is that where I want to be? If you're in a startup, look at where other startups have got to in similar roles and go, is that where I want to be? And if the answer is no, then you need to find a new path. And for me, the answer at that time from observing was no. The path that my parents or society or the university I went to or the community I had that was carving out for me, it didn't feel like the path for me. So I was almost seeking an alternative or a new path. I was just so fortunate that it happened to be an uplifting, powerful path as opposed to something that could have actually taken me down the wrong road. Because that could have been possible too. I think even one step before that is opening yourself up to new role models and new experiences. See, we live in echo chambers. We're just surrounded by the same thinking. How often do you bump into a monk? You know, it just doesn't happen. No one has a dinner party and goes, oh yeah, we just invited the monk, from town, like the local monk. Like no one ever does that. And so we meet people who are just like us most of the time. And we talk about this in business all the time. If you want to be a billionaire, spend time with billionaires. If you want to be a millionaire, spend time with millionaires. If you want to be a tech startup, spend time with, that's the common rhetoric that we hear all the time. But what if you want to find purpose and master the mind? So for me, the first step is just opening yourself up to new experiences and new role models. Because most of us can't see ourselves in people, so then we try and fit ourselves into the boxes that we do see. And I mean, there's this beautiful quote that I've been saying it everywhere, and I wish I wrote it, but I didn't. So it's by a philosopher and writer named Cooley. And he said that today, I'm not what I think I am. I'm not what you think I am. I am what I think you think I am. And just let that blow your mind for a moment. It's so powerful. I'm not what I think I am. I'm not what you think I am. I am what I think you think I am. So we live in this perception of ourselves. Hence, my identity is made by what my parents think I should be. My identity is made up by what my college or university thinks I should achieve. While you're living in that bubble and that echo chamber, getting to what you really want to do is impossible, because maybe that just doesn't fit. And I think so many people feel that way today, that they don't fit into the current education system. They don't fit with the 3 or 4 or 5 careers that you're taught exist. So that process of self-excavation and actualization first requires being exposed. You can't be what you can't see. If I never saw a monk, I would never have wanted to be a monk. If I never meet a billionaire, I wouldn't want to be one, because I wouldn't know what that feels like. I don't know what it looks like. I don't know what it takes. And I think that's the biggest challenge of our society, that we're not exposed. So that's the first step, being exposed to unique experiences and role models. Second step is finding that experience or role model that you're passionate about. And exactly like you said, taking it seriously. Shadow them, network with them, spend time with them, observe them, even from afar. It takes that observation, being addicted to observing that person's lifestyle. And then the third step is going yes or no. Does that work for me? Not everyone who's going to go off and become a monk is going to feel like the way I did, and that's cool. But not everyone is going to go and follow and shadow a billionaire and go, that's exactly the lifestyle I want. They may want the result, but do they want the hard work that goes with it? And so for me, that's the third step. It's observing, focusing, shadowing, getting as close to the process of that individual, and then going yes or no. Do I want that process? Not do I want the result?
Okay. I love Jay Shetty, and I love that video because I know the philosopher that he's speaking of. He's one of the people that I study, Coombs. And let's just think about that. What he said. He said, I'm not what I think I am. I'm not what you think I am. I am what I think you think I am. And that's true a lot of times. And if we're stuck thinking that we are who somebody else thinks we are, that's a direct indication of your own self-worth and value. Okay? That you don't have that much, or that it needs to be hired. It needs to be raised. So my question to you is this. When you go to do something, okay, whatever it is, it could be going for a job. It could be a relationship. It could be starting something. What's the first thing that you hear in your head? Like, do you hear something negative? Like, do you hear you're never going to make it? Do you hear you're stupid? Do you hear, you know what? You've always messed everything up. You're going to mess this up too, so there's no sense in trying. Do you hear, well, you're just stupid. You can't have that. That's not meant for you. You're not pretty enough. You're not strong enough. You're not thin enough. That's okay for everybody else, but that's not meant for you. Or do you hear, nobody's going to love you. You got too many kids. Are you kidding? Who in their right mind would love you With 5 kids. I used to think that a lot when I was single with the 5 kids. Who's going to love you? Or how about this? Let's go deeper. Some of you that know my past, I was molested a lot by family members, mother's boyfriends, and different things. And a lot of things happened to me. A lot of violations, sexually happened to me. And I'll tell you what, when something like that happens, if you've gone through a sexual molestation or a sexual assault or a rape, especially if it's by somebody that you care about and you trust, or a family member, you get a sense of, this is what I got, okay, that I'm dirty. I'm tainted goods. Nobody's going to want me. I'm not worth keeping. I'm not lovable. I'm not a virgin anymore. And you grow up with that. And so if you have that in your mind when you're going through different relationships, especially if you've been sexually assaulted, that does damage, whether you're male or female, to your own self-worth. And if people mistreat you growing up, if they've abused you, if they've abandoned you, if they've neglected you, if they've left you for dead, if they've tried to kill you, if they've hurt you in any way, shape, or form, then you know what? Your self-worth and your self-value starts to get shaped in, you're not safe. I'm not safe. This is not a safe place for me. Or I can't trust anybody. I can't depend on anybody. And it wreaks havoc. It kills your spirit. It changes the way you show up in the world, because now you have a tainted view of yourself. That's why it's called self-worth, self-value. And here's the thing, guys. You listen to you all the time. You are with you more than anybody on the face of the earth. And if you have in your mind something that somebody said to you about you, or something that you came up with yourself about you, you hear that over and over and over and over in your head. And how do we learn things, guys? Repetition. If something is repeated enough, you believe it. I'm reading comments. Okay, Tamika, yep, I went inside myself at 12 and I stayed there until this year, 24 years. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that, Tamika. And here's the thing. When that trauma happens, you stop right there. You stop. You stop developing. You stop. You're physically going to grow. You're, biologically going to grow, but your development stops. Your maturity stops. That's why whenever I talk to people and I see people and I get clients, I don't care how old they are. I can talk to them in a few minutes and pinpoint where it stopped. And you can be, I'm 54 years old. Okay. But when John was molesting me, my mother's boyfriend, I was 12. I was 12. When I had an abortion the first time, I was 13. So there's a lot of things that stopped for me at 12. And unless you get healed from that and you talk through it and you work through that, you can't see past that. You really got to put the work into getting past what happened. And it's not saying that it's okay. It's not saying that, whatever. No, it wasn't okay. Whatever happened to you that you decided this will never happen to me again, I'm telling you, it never should have happened. And it's not okay. But now that you know, or if you could think back, when did it stop for you? When did it stop for you? When did you shut your heart off? When did you start building the wall up? When did you decide this will never happen to me again? Boom, there's brick number 1. Something else happens. Oh, this damn sure ain't never going to happen to me. Boom, brick number 2. And many things happen in our lives, and we put brick after brick after brick after brick because we're like, this is never going to happen to me again. You're not going to hurt me again. Because my self-worth is already low, and I'll be doggone if I'm going to let you in to stomp on it. Well, here's the problem with walls, guys. When you build those walls, you're right. They do keep everybody away. They do. But you know what else? They keep you blocked in, and you can't get out. That's the problem with walls. And the only way out, guys, is through. You have to go through. You have to feel to heal. You got to think about those things you don't want to think about. You have to assess, okay, why is my self-worth here? What happened? What was it that shaped? Where did I go off course at? You know, if I could ask you guys right now, and I'm going to ask this. Okay. All of you that are watching, and there's a whole bunch of you watching, who's going to be brave enough? Let me ask you this. What did you want to be when you were a kid? What was your dream as a kid? What did you want to be? Put that in the comments. I'm just going to start a little conversation here. We only got a couple minutes left. What did you want to be when you were a kid? I wanted to be a model. Okay. I wanted to be a model. I wanted to be this great big fashion model. And what else did I want to do when I was a kid? I wanted to build this ridiculous house with like this long slide through it, and you know, all the stuff that kids would like. What else did I want to be when I was little? I always wanted to be married. I remember that. I always wanted to be married. And that's kind of weird because my mom was single. You know, she was like in between marriages. She had a couple of them, but I always wanted to be married. Okay. So, Brittany, you wanted to be a singer. Okay. Tamika, you wanted to be a writer and a movie producer. Awesome. So let me ask this question. Brittany, are you a singer today? Do you sing? Did you follow that dream? Tamika, are you a writer and a movie producer today? Did you follow that dream? Hey, Josh, I want your own. Okay, so Dontella, you want your own. So, Brittany, I know you want to be a singer because I know Brittany. But here's the thing. When you get off course, okay, there's something in your mind that tells you can't do it, or you put it on pause a lot of times. And if your self-worth is not there, then you tend to not even try because it goes back to those negative things that you hear in your head. Why bother trying? You know you can't do it. All right, Dontella, you want a youth center. Okay. All right. Tamika, you're starting your film next month. Fantastic. And you are a writer. Awesome. Very good. Well, I finally started I started modeling when I was in high school. Okay. But then I got into an abusive relationship and somebody had me convinced that I was nothing and I never thought I could do it again. Well, I just started modeling again a few years ago. And like I said, I'm 54. So it stopped my plan for my life. I got to it now at the end, but not the end, but at this point in my life. But it took a long time because I delayed my own happiness because of my own self-worth. Because I was looking at my body. I was looking at, I'm not going to be pretty enough, thick, small enough, all of this. And then don't forget, I also had the thing about, the being molested, that I was dirty and I was tainted goods. Okay. So I put my happiness on hold. So with your self-worth and your self-value, all right, think about where did it stop for you? And if it did stop, Then ask yourself why. What do you hear in your head? Is there something you hear in your head that's stopping you? And if it is, then the journey begins. Because guess what, guys? Your heart matters, your story matters, your self-worth matters, and your value matters. And once you can tap into how valuable you are and the gifts that you have, my sister says something to me all the time. She says, Ron, I wish you could see you through my eyes. And, other people have a good sense of all of our gifts and all of our talents and stuff, but we don't see it. So here I'm going to end with, because we're rounding down here. We got 2 minutes left. Here's a question I ask my students all the time. Whose eyes do you see yourself through? Whose eyes do you see yourself through? Who do you say that you are? Because at any moment you can create that man or that woman that you want to be. Whose eyes do you see yourself through? Because if they're not your own eyes, then you got some work to do. You got to dig in and find out who blocked your view of you. Because you're awesome. You're magnificent. You're a freaking rock star. And you are here to do something that nobody else can do. But you got to see how great you are and tap into all that's in you. So your self-worth and your value is where you start at. Strong self-worth and value, strong, positive life. All right, guys, that is my time. Comment, let me know what you thought about this, and share this. I'm looking for feedback. Next week, we're going to have an opener. Thank you so much for joining me today on this debut broadcast. And I can't wait to see where it goes. And remember, if you want to be a guest on the show and you want to work through some stuff on camera like this, you can email me, Rhonda's Room at E360TV, to be a guest. And I'm just going to throw this up here too. All right. For all of you that believe in what I'm doing, hey, I do have a business. And if it so strikes you, if you want to sew something into me, my Cash App is down at the bottom. It's Rhonda T and ATL. And I look forward to you guys joining me next week. You have a fantastic week. And remember, you have the say-so in who you are. You can create that person any moment you want. So let's get started today. It's the beginning of the year. Perfect time to start. You can have anything you want. All you got to do is put your mind to it. I'll talk to you later.